let's just say, what was happening with nutrition as it related to CrossFit, and what are the things you were discovering or ignoring or, trying to battle with or whatever else during that time?
Yeah. So when I moved on from the personal trainer, Michelle, that I had worked with back in the day, like I said, I left with some healthy habits, and I knew how to basically build a good plate, have like consistent meals, and focus on food quality, right? That's really all I needed with what I was doing in the gym. Those habits definitely carried over and it helped me. But as I progressed in my skill with CrossFit and I could increase my intensity and my weight and my strength, the more my body was getting beat up. So I somehow survived from 2012 when I started CrossFit until 2014 without really much structure with my nutrition. I was still just kind of carrying over those habits. And a big thing in CrossFit back then was paleo.
Right.
Yes. And so the hard part with paleo is that, basically most of your carbs are coming from sweet potatoes or rice if you are really naughty with paleo
and not very much of it.
And not very much of it. So it was super high fat, pretty low carb, and with CrossFit being like primarily glycolytic, I slowly deteriorated.
Well, I'd venture to say with quite a bit of confidence, actually, a lot of the athletes at that time were. And what you were watching, again, as a spectator, sort of a closet fan to some extent, what you were watching was the top athletes coming back year after year and looking seemingly like they were in the best shape of their life.
So jacked.
I mean, and a part of it was like, you got to show up to the games ripped, because if you don't, you're just not going to, there's photos, just, it was like the social media thing was going crazy, but that was just kind of part of the culture at the time. But what you were watching is the performance levels were dropping and the injury levels were starting to come up. And so people were getting wrecked. There was no longevity in the sport for a lot of those athletes. However, there were some that, whether because they were genetic freaks or they really got a handle on their nutrition and their training protocols, recovery protocols, they were competing, or they were, excelling and continuing. Thriving. And market differences. I mean, there were some dominant people who just like, that person's a freak. But there was more to it than that. It was that maybe they had adopted the paleo lifestyle, but at the same time recognized that it had its flaws for what they were doing and made some adjustments. So
for sure, back then, I feel like there was a very small percentage of athletes that were truly thriving with their nutrition and their performance. In the last podcast I did with Justin, that is one of the things we talked about when he went individual at regionals. I talked about how he felt with his paleo diet competing, and it has and it's not paleo. Paleo is great for the right demographic. It's just like for CrossFitters, high level competitors, it's so hard to get enough food.
Right, and it might be okay to say, like, for the general hobbyist that CrossFits, paleo could be perfect.
Yeah,
if you're not training 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, and going balls to the wall, for lack of a better term, into the competition world, it might be the best one for you. But from a competitive perspective, it's probably not the best idea. And
right.
Maybe not for everybody. Again, it's never an absolute, but okay.
There's definitely always those people where you're like, how in the world have you gotten away with this for so long? Like, sometimes I bring on new clients and I'm like, what is actually going on? Like, how have you been managing this?